All right, today we're going to be talking about our trailers, and it's our Workman XL. All you're going to really need is a test light and maybe a screwdriver and needle nose pliers. Now, the first thing you'll want to check, you'll want to make sure that your terminals are connected. They're tight. They're not corroded. Make sure your battery's good. You might have to have it tested if something's not working. Make sure it's got over 12 volts. So after you've checked both terminals, then the next step you're going to do, if you have a simple test light, you'll hook the wire up to ground, and the point you'll stick to each silver side section of the fuse. When it lights up, you can tell your fuse is good. And so that means you got power coming in and power going out. A lot of times you'll look at a fuse and you'll look at the wire in the fuse and it'll look like it's not broken. It could be broken. It can be very deceiving. So after you've checked, we know we have power coming in to our cords. Okay, this is your trailer or your tow vehicle wiring harness right here. We have it bunched up, so this is what comes off your tow vehicle. Here's where it goes up to your actuator switch or rocker switch. Okay, the next thing we want to check, we want to separate these and verify that we have power coming in to it. So when you test, now you have 3 of them. The center one though is your positive all the time. So we've tested it there. We know we have power coming in to it. Now we're going to go down further on the line and we're going to test to make sure we have power coming out of it. So then what you're going to do, and this part might take 2 people, but you'll separate it, and we put the hitch here, so this is right at the end of your tongue of your trailer. So you're going to unplug the 6-prong, and then what you're going to do is, now can you help me just for a second, and you operate he's going to hit, and what we're going to do is first we're going to hit the middle male, and he's going to hit the down button. You see that that's good. Okay, and then the raise one is next to it. We know that one's good. So now we know our actuator, our rocker switch, is putting power to the 6-prong plug. So now the rest of our plug though, we'll go through it. Now you're going to have your ground is going to be over here, so that one's always going to be negative. But then can you apply the brown wire? The brown wire in your harness is your stoplights, so you can see that those work. Now we want to try the yellow wire. That's your running lights. So now we know our running lights are good. And the last one is positive all the time. That's always a positive feed. So now we've went through and tested every one on this switch. So we know now we have power to the front hitch. And we know it's for everything. For our brakes, everything has power. So our next step we're going to go to is we're going to unplug, and this would be coming out of the back of the tongue where it attaches to the actual trailer. So where the tongue bolts to the trailer. Now, again, we're going to need to hit the switch for the up and the down. There you go. So there's that's the up is your green, and then the other one is your down. So we know we have power going through the tongue of the trailer. And now any of this stuff, if you have questions, please feel free to call us and we'll go over this with you. Now the 4-prong plug, you're going to have the same thing. You're going to have 4 plugs. You're going to have positive all the time on the one side. So that one's always going to be positive. And then this one's always going to be ground. And then you're going to have your yellow wire, which is going to be your running lights. Okay, and then we're going to go our brake lights, which is the brown wire. So now we know we have everything coming to the front of the trailer is good. So now our next step, we know we have all of our wiring working coming into the trailer through the tongue. So basically on your actuator, if you unplug out of your black plastic box, you'll have a red and a blue wire. Okay, so if we hit the up button on the rocker switch, yep, that's your blue, and then we hit the down button, that's your red wire. So now we know out of the black plastic box coming to the actual actuator plug, we have power. So the next trick you can do is, if you're not sure if your actuator is any good, what you can do is actually just run 2 wires from your battery. I'm going to move this down here to make this easier. We're going to hook 1 wire to positive and 1 wire to negative. Oops, I better make sure I don't have them touching each other. All right, on the actuator, it is just reverse polarity. So basically, if you apply positive to one side and it goes up, then you switch positive or the negative around, and then it'll go down. So you can't hook it up wrong. Now, mind you, it will send a little bit of a spark, but you see how it runs? And then you do it the other way, it'll actually turn the opposite direction. So, but basically, your actuator, if it runs up, it's going to work in the down position because it's a reverse polarity motor. So if you have it running one way, you know it works. And so that's how to run direct current to it to test it. Now, to check the wiring in the box, what I've done is I've taken everything out of the box. So we have our brake box, our 2 fuses, and our relays. So basically, he's going to hit the toggle switch in the up button. I want you to listen. Okay, and now hit the down button. You can hear the relays clicking, so you know they have juice coming to the relays. So basically, if you know juice is coming to, you can try your connections. You can wiggle all of your connections and see if they're tight. Now, for some reason, if you buy a new relay and it still doesn't work, then we have to test wirings. So what we're going to have to do is remove a relay, and then, can you hit the rocker switch, please? Okay, so we know we have the up. And this one's always positive, okay, and then the other 2, this is going to be negative, and this one is your out. So if you have these two hot, then you know that you actually have the electric going to it. So you have the electric coming from the switch and the positive coming from the battery. And it'll be the same on your other relay, except the color of the wires will be, your green will be coming in, which will be from the switch, and your black will be your positive all the time. So if you check those wires and you have it coming in, and we already checked it coming out, so we know all that's good. Now the next thing you can do too is, if you open up your fuse, there's a second 30 amp fuse in the box. So we have a 30 amp fuse at the battery and a 30 amp fuse in the box just for extra protection. We can test it again so we know we have power both sides of the fuse. Now, what I want to do is, can you touch our brown wire? We're going to touch our positive wire to simulate brakes. And when we do, we're going to see, one, the brake box lit up. But we can also check the fuse both sides. It's a 15 amp fuse for that. So now we know that we have power going to our brakes. The other wire that you have here, this is to plug in your wireless remote unit. You have a green, yellow, and white wire. The green is your up, the yellow is your down, and the black is always positive, and the white is always negative. So you can also check those inside if you need to. And then our last item that we're going to check. So we've checked all of our wiring. We know our actuator is good. We know we're getting juice to everything here. So next, we're going to have our brake light wires. So you'll see there's 2 wires that run into the brake light housing. So the blue wire on each side, is your positive. So if you check both and you have it going to both sides, now you know your brakes are good. Now your tail light wires, brown is going to be your brakes. Now your white is going to be your ground, and then the yellow wire is going to be your tail lights. So basically, that quick, well, it's going to take you longer, of course, on your Workman XL wagon. So, because you're going to have to take stuff apart and separate it. These 2 brake wires go to the magnets on each side. This section of wire here goes to the rear tail light, and then we went over the rest of the wiring. Once in a while, you'll bottom out or top out your actuator lift cylinder. So if that happens, if it gets stuck and it's either all the way in or all the way out, and it's not moving, what you can do is you'll want a larger screwdriver than this, but unbolt the one end. You can either put this in a vise or leave one end bolted, and then you'll give it a good yank and break it loose. Then after you do, you'll screw it counterclockwise all the way in until it stops. Once it stops, you'll turn it 1, 2, and we usually say 2 to 3 times. I like to go 3 times. So basically turn it out 3 turns, and that'll reset the limit switch so that it'll allow it to work. So that's a real quick reference in how to go through, how to check everything. If you have questions though, please give us a call at 877-788-7253. Ask for customer service, and we'll be more than happy to help. Here at ABI, we really try to keep the cost and everything down and make things as expensive as we can for our customers. That's why we made this video today. All of the wiring harness sections that you saw us go through, if you have a bad section, you can call us and we can order you just those sections. You don't have to buy everything. Same thing with our electric actuators. You can buy just the motor. You can buy replacement gears, and you can also buy the replacement lift cylinder in sections rather than have to buy everything. That's why we have videos on all this, so that you can decide exactly what part you need to keep it as inexpensive as possible. Thank you.